to an even more sinister type of enemy, and that is violent extremism, organizations hell-bent on disseminating and entrenching their misguided ideologies through violence. And we know, you see in Kenya we have Al-Shabaab, here you have ADF causing problems all across the border, disturbing citizens, not allowing people to move forward. But why are these groups able to do that? They're able to do that because there is somehow feeling that there is a vacuum which they want to come here and push, because we have also failed in trying to have this inclusive society. If we were one, these would not be problems. Al-Shabaab problem, ADF problem would be a problem of East Africa, not a problem of individual countries. You don't have the capacity. These people have no color. You know, they have no tribe. They just have an ideology which is warped. So today they will bomb you in Kampala, tomorrow they'll be bombing me in Kiambu, or they'll be bombing somebody else in Dar es Salaam. But if we were together, we are able to fight and to confront these issues, while at the same time working towards the prosperity of our nations. So, the peace and security crisis that looms over many parts of our continent is a clear and present danger to Africa's long-term viability as a going concern. And if we don't find ways to resolve these conflicts soon, we may have generations of young people wiped out as cannon fodder, and with them, any prospect of uplifting the lives of our people. So you millennials and Gen Zs and all of us, we are also told we are young people by the Vice President. I agree, even me, I'm still young. So, you're told you're as young as you feel. Me, I feel young. So, but anyway, there are those who are millennials. You have your Gen Zs here as well. Allow me to state this point once more for emphasis. Nobody outside of Africa is coming to save you. Do not have any misguided thought that there's anybody who is coming to save you. In the words of Elridge Cleaver, an American writer and civil rights activist, you are either going to be part of the solution or you are part of the problem. This message holds true today as it did decades ago at the height of America's civil rights movement. The good news also, however, I believe, is that I have witnessed such a pivotal moment to effect change. All the elements necessary to bring about lasting and irreversible change are currently within your grasp as young people. And why, you say, do I say this? And let me just say, for starters, again, as has been mentioned, the demographics, first and foremost, are in your favor. The median age across our African continent in 2025 is 19.3 years, against a global median of 30.4 years. This means that over 65% of all Africans are below the age of 25. You have the numbers, you have the time, you have the energy to get involved and stay involved in governance discussions until you effect the change you wish to see. You have the time. Our elder, Mzee here, told us that when he stood here starting his journey, he was 23 years old. He's now 88, going 89, still fighting. Some of you have not even touched 23, and you are lamenting. My friend, this is a call to action. Get up and start moving. This is your call to action. Now. Now is the time. Now, not tomorrow, not the day after, not after you graduate. No, now is the time. Now. So, like I say, you have the numbers, you have the time, and you have the energy to get involved and stay involved in governance discussions until you effect the change you want to see. Furthermore, you are also the beneficiaries of years of investment in education and digital connectivity. You have the knowledge. You are, in essence, the first children of that knowledge economy, the true digital natives of Africa. The democratization of access to information through the internet means that very few secrets are left. Very, very few. Very, very few secrets. The asymmetry of information in favor of government has always been a tool to manage the perception of populations. This is no longer the case. You know what we know. In many cases, you know it better because you have understood how to leverage the essential tools of today, such as artificial intelligence and the power of social media. Me, when I go and make a small statement somewhere, I think I'll be hidden myself in the middle of the bush. By the time I am getting home for lunch with my wife, she's asking me, what were you doing talking out there? How do you know where I was? It's already, you young people have already pressed these buttons and it's all over. He was there and he said this. So we are living in a very dangerous time. Be very careful, especially of those of you who have two girlfriends. Mujichunge sana. I hear these days they can even follow you, you know. She can just say, I don't know, follow me or track me, I don't know what. And you've said you've gone to study in, I don't know, the library, and she finds you in some... Be very careful. Things are very dangerous these days. So lastly on this point is that over the last 60 years or so, as our countries have developed, so have the living and migration patterns of our citizens. And this is a wonderful fact. Millions of families have moved from rural towns to large urban settings in search of opportunity and better life. This migration has created a new generation of non-ethnically homogeneous populations across the country. The result, millions of young people born out of intermarriages and unshackled by the negative weight of ethnic identity are slowly becoming the majority. As I alluded to you earlier in my speech, never before have there been such ideal conditions to break loose from the generational curse of our forefathers and of some of us that saw us remain chained to ethnic and cultural differences as a way to distribute wealth and political power. Finally, let us tackle the last one that I posed to you. What does it mean to be a young African competing for limited economic opportunities with close to 1 billion other young Africans? And I believe we need to see our strength in numbers as Africans. And in spite of having the world's youngest population and a market size of over 1.5 billion people, Africa still accounts for less than 2.5% of global trade. We have designed our trade corridors to favor extraction as opposed to intra-Africa trade, meaning that today it is easier for a Kenyan or a Ugandan to sell tomatoes and avocados to the European Union than it is to supply our brethren in West Africa. Similarly, unfortunately, it is easier for an American or European passport holder to visit African countries visa-free than it is for an African to traverse their own continent. If we are to create economic opportunities for our youth, we need to remove the barriers that prevent the actualization of the African Continental Free Trade Agreement, of the East African Protocol on Trade. We need to remove every single barrier. We must stop being paranoid about each other and give preferential treatments to African passport holders to visit and to do business anywhere on their continent. We must design our transport and logistics infrastructure to point inward to facilitate more cross-border trade by allowing for the affordable and efficient movement of people, goods, and services across our continent. And closer to home, we need to reflect on our education curricula. Are we training our children for the jobs of the future? The advancements in technology have rendered many traditional careers irrelevant, yet we are still spending millions of dollars every year encouraging our children to pursue courses that will lead them to nowhere. Today, the world needs doers, people who can get things done. This is the preference of functionality over form, as one of you here had mentioned. We need functionality. So I would summarize my response to the third question as follows. One, we must increase our share of global trade as Africans by deliberately focusing on intra-Africa trade or East African trade. Two, we need to evolve our education system to encourage our youth to be entrepreneurial and tailor our curricula to be fit for purpose in the knowledge economy. And three, we need to actively influence the adoption of domestic policies on macroeconomic management that create a conducive environment for the private sector to thrive. So, ladies and gentlemen, I've always been passionate about the role of our youth in leadership, and it is a subject that I can talk about for hours on end. However, I'm cognizant that today we are limited in time to exchange these ideas. So I would just like to touch on some perspectives that I have garnered from my 30 years or so in active politics and my 10 years as President of the Republic of Kenya. And these perspectives delve into the basics of leadership and what I feel are the irreducible minimums that we must all aspire to as leaders in the new world that we are navigating. The first of these is integrity and leadership. And this is not merely a moral idea, it is a practical necessity. It involves a conviction to do right when it is costly, and to serve when it is easier to exploit. Integrity builds legitimacy, and legitimacy fosters peace. Leadership is a journey filled with challenges and triumphs. Reflecting on my own tenure, I did face numerous challenges, including corruption, rising debt levels, so on and so forth. But these experiences taught me that humility, listening, and continuous learning are the core to ethical leadership. Courage, my friends, courage is the underestimated quality, but it is something that you shall require in abundance if you are to transcend ethnic mobilization for power, short-term populism, and dependency on elite networks. Leadership should be based on vision and competence, not tribal affiliations. Policies should be designed for long-term national benefit, not immediate political gain. Opportunities should be accessible to all based on merit and hard work. Focused and determined is what you shall need to be in order to confront the status quo and compel a shift to a merit-based governance model that values competence over connections, transparency over transactional politics, and places citizens, not politicians, at the center of public service. Young leaders, as I conclude my remarks, I would like to recognize that universities like this are not just centers of learning, but they are incubators of change. They nurture values, ethics, and civic consciousness. You, as guild presidents and student leaders, are not merely representatives of your peers. You are the trustees of tomorrow's Africa. Your leadership today will shape the governance structures of our nations tomorrow. The power of an integrated East Africa lies in shared values, youth-led civic movements, and collaborative governance reforms. I encourage the creation of a cross-border youth action plan for integrity as outlined in your own summit agenda. You are the first true East African generation. Think beyond borders. Think vision. For you, your sake and for the sake of future generations, my call to action for our youth is to lead with conviction, not convenience. To our institutions, I ask you, empower and equip these young leaders meaningfully with the skills and knowledge they need to actualize their potential. To the development partner present, it is my hope that you shall consciously invest in an integrity-driven leadership development. It is said that history is often written by the powerful, but the future will be shaped by the principle. I express hope in this generation's courage, creativity, and conscience. I reiterate support once again for the GPLA's mission and Makerere University's leadership in all of this. Let your voices rise not just as echoes of the past, but as my father said, as architects of a new dawn, an East Africa that works for all and leaves no one behind. I thank you all for your attention. May God bless you. May God bless our beautiful region of East Africa and our wonderful continent of Africa. Asante ni sana. Thank you very much. Asante.